Paint work is getting better and better these days. The spray booths are getting cleaner and cleaner. Lots of new developments that are happening in the auto body industry. This is a panel that was painted in a spray booth, and this is the only visible piece of dirt in this panel right here. So we're going to color sand that out, and using a new tool, a DA motioned Flex electric tool. That is an electric tool that you plug in. We're going to remove this particle, this little piece of dirt right there, and I'm going to try and get some good visuals on this so that you can see what we're doing. It's you know, this panel hardly has any orange peel in it at all. The reflection looks almost perfect. Just that one little tiny piece of dirt that's right there, and that zoomed in really hard. But you know, from far back you can hardly see it at all. So we'll take that out, and using this new Flex tool, 2 foam pads. That's a cutting foam and a finishing foam, and ceramics polish. So as the sandpaper wears out, you just change. You just rip off the sheet and continue using it. Works really good. It's going to control the damage area when I block it on the hood there. And then we're going to finish with 3000 grit. This is CSI Ceram-X 3000. It's probably some of the finest 3000 grit sandpaper made. Because it's made with diamonds, it lasts for a long, long time. So we'll finish that. We'll finish all the 2000 grit area with 3000 grit. We're doing it all with water, a little water bottle there. And then just go over the area, and it'll buff out really, really nice using the maroon foam pad and the Flex DA tool. So we'll get started. So this is a tool we're going to be using today. Flex XFE 7-1280. You can look it up online and check out the details about that tool. This is what the finishing foam looks like that's on there. We're going to be doing all the cutting, removing the color sanding scratches with this foam pad, and obviously ceramics polish. So we're only going to use one product, 2 pads. That's just a brand new finishing foam. And this tool is called a DA tool. I call it an oscillating tool. So you can see how the stroke works. I believe it's a 1/2-inch stroke, but again, check that out online, and I'll show you how fast and flawless the work comes out. So we're getting started. Here's the dirt nib right there. Little tiny dirt nib. We're going to use the curved side of the block, again, to just keep the damage area as small as possible. Start the sandpaper inside the little thumb grabs, and then just wrap it around the block. So you've got a whole bunch of area to use on the sandpaper. Nice and flat, everything's nice and clean. Use a little bit of water. And stay as small as possible. Any damage that you do, you have to polish out. And because time is money, you want to stay as small as possible. Just stay on top of the dirt nib. Only remove the dirt nib. Just stay, you don't want to go any further than the dirt nib. So that's what the dirt nib looks like. You can see I still got to color sand it a little bit more, but I don't want to go too far. And the one thing I noticed about this painted panel is how nice it came out. The paintwork that I'm seeing coming out of body shops is getting so nice, where there's hardly any orange peel at all. You can see that, you know, where I blocked it, and I'm only using 2000 grit, that it doesn't look like there's a bunch of high and low spots. But we do have, you know, you can still see the imperfection in there. So it's important to block that flat, but not to go any further. So we'll block that just a little bit more. Light pressure, not much pressure at all. Check your work. Okay, now we'll take a look at that. Okay, it looks really good. We've taken just the nerd nib. You can just see just a tiny little bit of it, but that's okay. The 3000 now, the conversion to 3000 will take out anything that's left there. That way we're not over sanding any of this. So this is the area that we sanded with 2000 grit. It's about the size of a silver dollar. Now we're going to take it out a little bit further, about twice the size, twice the area with 3000 grit. And it's important that we do this conversion so that we're buffing less. We don't want to be spending a lot of time buffing. Spend the time doing the color sanding and fully converting so that the buffing process happens very fast. The more time that you spend buffing, the more opportunity there is there for damage and things like that. So when we're going into body shops and we're showing them how to be efficient, spend less time buffing, more time doing all this prep work. So 2000 grit, now we're gonna go over with 3000 grit. This is a CSI Carrot, just you can bend it right in half or use it, you know, with your fingers. Don't finger sand. Light pressure, very light pressure. Just do the conversion. It happens very fast. This is all being done in real time. Just fully convert that. If you can see a difference between the two grits, continue to sand until you don't see that. So you want to see a full conversion. You'll be able to tell the difference between the 2000 grit sandpaper and the 3000 grit sandpaper. And don't finger sand. That means don't use a bunch of pressure here. There you go. That looks really good. So now we're fully converted to 3000 grit. And that'll buff really easy. So we'll get started. Let's talk a little bit about how this tool works. This is a Flex XFE 7-1280. It has a RPM speed of 1800 to 5500 RPMs. That seems high if you haven't used these DA tools, but it's not. It's easy to manage and it works really good. So this is a DA tool like we use in the body shop for sanding. It has a 1/2 inch stroke, 12 millimeter stroke. So you can see the rotation of how it breaks out of its stroke. The thing that you want to do is when you use the product, and you're only going to use a small amount of product on here, is you want to compress this pad. It won't overload the machine. Compress the pad so you can get the cutting action. We're not using wool, so it's not going to be cutting like a wool pad. It's cutting with a foam pad. And because of the way ceramics works, it's water-based, it's going to keep the area really cool. So as I work this pad into the surface, I'm going to compress this pad slightly, just slightly. No edge buffing with this. Keep it nice and flat. The idea behind this is to totally eliminate swirl marks. It's going to cut a little bit slower than a rotary buffer. But when you're doing super high-end work like we're doing here on this panel, where it's very minimally evasive, that means our damage area is very small. We're not doing complete panels. Never. I wouldn't recommend doing this on a complete panel. But for doing small work, and because a lot of body shops are doing really nice work, and we want to make money doing this whole color sanding and polishing process, this tool works great. You only sand the small area, you use a little bit of pressure to compress this foam pad, do all your cutting, take out all of your straight line scratches that you did with the sandpaper. In this case, it would be 3000 grit. And I wouldn't recommend trying to remove any more than that. Yes, you can, but it's just going to take too much time. If you want to remove anything deeper than a 3000, just go to a rotary. It's going to be simple. So use this, compress it a little bit with just a drop of product, and it's not going to take very much. And then take out all your scratches, and then I'll show you how to go on to finish it with the white foam pad. We're going to use Ceram-X again. So Ceram-X is the only product that you're going to use. Ceram-X to cut with this maroon foam pad, and Ceram-X to finish, and it's absolutely perfect. Okay, about ready to get started. If it looks like my face is hotly lit, I've got the lighting really close to this panel, just so you can see the difference between the gloss level and the sanded level. I want you to see how fast that it makes it shiny. That doesn't mean all the scratches are gone, but just in a couple strokes, you're gonna see a big difference. So I'll do a couple strokes on here, wipe it off. I'm not done yet, but I want to show you how fast a tool like this works. So we're only going to use a little bit of product. Always shake the CSI product. It is a water-based emulsion. Just want to make sure that nothing is settling, and it doesn't separate. It's a really nice tight emulsion, but just make sure. So about a dime size amount. You can see that on there, about a dime size. No more. You don't need any more. Now remember, a little bit of compression is okay. Just compress the foam pad so we're getting a nice cutting action, and no edge buffing. I've seen other guys do this with if you want to edge buff, use a rotary, and you better be good because it's going to cause a problem. You better know what you're doing when you edge buff with a rotary. Guys that buff all the time, they edge buff. But you start edge buffing with this, and this rotation of back and forth will start to pound the panel. That's really a problem. So no edge buffing when you're using a tool like this. Hold it flat on the surface. It's going to start to make some noise. So and it is at maximum speed, about 5,500 RPM. So you just watch and see how quick it takes out the dullness. Okay, we're not done, but I want to show you how fast it's working. It might look like it on camera. It'll look, look at the difference. I mean, huge. Let me step out of the lights there. Huge difference in just a couple strokes, right? This is where it is. So big difference. Don't have to put any more product. There's plenty of product on the pad. Now we just go after it. Little bit of compression. Okay, that looks really good. We're going to check that with an LED light and see how well that came out. Okay, that looks really good. We just have backlighting on here right now, and I am going to use a flashlight that is LED, about 1,000 lumen, and this is what it looks like. If you don't have one of these, get one of these because you need to check your work. The nice part about this is we're not seeing a swirl mark. It's still not as glossy as we want it to be, but we're not seeing a nasty swirl mark from a rotary tool. That's what a rotary tool does. Now you know that we guarantee no swirl marks when using a rotary properly. But for doing small work like this, these DA tools, wow, they work awesome. So now we're going to take out that scratch pattern using the white foam pad and Ceram-X again. One of the things that we're going to do, and I want you to watch this, is as I finish with the white foam pad, I'm going to free spin. That means back off all my pressure, leave the tool running at super high speed, and allow that free spin to take out any minimal scratches that might be there from the white foam pad. So this looks pretty good. You know, obviously with the camera off, it's perfect. You know, it's absolutely perfect. And there are lights, there's big lights. You can see the backlighting that I have in this panel, and we're not seeing any swirl marks. So we'll hit this with the white foam pad and Ceram-X again and take another video. Okay, what we want to do now is take this red foam pad off. They're Velcro attached. And then we're going to go to the white foam pad. And the white foam pad is the finest pad that we make for these 3-inch tools. So again, we don't make a bunch of different pads. I don't want to confuse the whole process by throwing a bunch of wrenches into this thing. One single product, and that's all we have. We don't have any compounds for this. We don't have any secondary products. One single product, Ceram-X. Cutting foam pad would be the maroon pad, and then finishing pad is this white pad, again using Ceram-X. So no need to shake it. You know, the shaking only happens once a day. You don't have to do it every time you do it, or every time you use it. So use just a little bit, dime amount, that's all. You don't need to use more. One, we're using, you know, at a very high RPM, so I don't want to sling it all over the place, and it won't. Our products won't sling as long as you do them properly. And now we're going to use it on the surface. Use it, you know, push into it a little, but not very much. Not like we did the cutting foam pad. So, and there's no need because the scratch we're trying to take out is very, very small. So foam, Ceram-X, a little bit of pressure. 50% overlap. Up and down. Back and forth. 2 times each way. So this is the second time this way. Now this is the second time up and down, and then we're done. We'll check our work. Light pressure. Now we're going to free spin. High RPM. Just free spin. Allow that surface to work out the scratches at a very, very high spin. We want to take advantage of that 5,500 RPM. And we only used a little tiny bit of product, so it's very, very efficient. Product never gets sticky. It'll never get sticky on the surface. You can do this in direct sun. Now in this lighting, it looks absolutely perfect, but we're going to check it. Okay, looks really good in this lighting. You know, obviously you can't see anything, even though we've got that backlight on there. But now we put the flashlight on, and we're going to look straight into the light, and we're going to look at the scratches. That is where the color sending mark was, right in there. It looks really good. That looks really, really nice. There's nothing on here. This is just clean paint. And we did it with one single product. So, you know, one of the things, you know, you want to be careful about doing this kind of work is checking your work in between. If you're seeing a bunch of really deep scratches, chances are you didn't do the conversion to the 3000. But once you do that conversion to the 3000, those scratches are going to come out of there very, very easily. So I hope this helps. This is part of our training that we're doing for the toy drive for the kids for Christmas Eve. And if you haven't seen any of that, check out our other YouTube videos. And, you know, I hope you can get involved. Love to have you come out to the shop. It is, well, it's kind of free. You have to bring a toy. So it's free with a toy. How about that? I don't want somebody complaining that, hey, you said it was free. Nope, it's free with a toy. So Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope this helps. Hope to see you soon. Bye.